All right, let's dive in. Today, we're going to talk about a four-letter acronym that is, no joke, the silent guardian of our entire digital world. It's called ACID, and it's basically the set of rules that stops our online lives from just falling apart.
Have you ever really thought about this? When you send money to a friend, your bank has to do two things, right? It's got to take money out of your account and put it into their account. Simple. But what if the power goes out right in that split second between those two steps?
Or how about this one? There is one ticket left for that concert you've been dying to see. You and some other person click buy at the exact same millisecond. I mean, literally the same time. How on earth does the system figure out who gets it without accidentally selling the same ticket twice?
Well, the answer to both of these tricky situations is a powerful set of principles that database engineers have sworn by for decades. You can think of it like a promise, a rock-solid guarantee that our most important digital interactions are handled reliably, every single time.
And that promise is called ACID. It stands for atomicity, consistency, isolation, and durability. Now, I know those sound like pretty dense technical words, but together, these four properties are the absolute bedrock of reliable data. So let's break down what each one actually does.
All right, first up, the A in ACID, atomicity. The easiest way to think about this one is as the all-or-nothing rule. It's specifically designed to stop those half-finished disasters from messing up all our data.
So what atomicity says is that any transaction, doesn't matter if it has one step or 100 steps, is treated as one single indivisible thing. It's like a pact, you know? Either every single part of the deal goes through perfectly or the whole thing is just canceled. The system completely rolls back and pretends it never even happened. No half measures. That bank transfer we talked about, it's the perfect example. So, step 1, debiting $100 from account A. That works just fine. But then, in step 2, the system tries to credit account B. And, oh, wait, account B doesn't exist. The whole transaction fails. Now, because of atomicity, the system immediately hits the brakes and performs an automatic rollback. That $100 is put right back into account A. It's like the transfer was never even attempted. No money just disappears into the void. Okay, so atomicity is the cleanup crew. It's amazing at cleaning up a mess after something goes wrong. But what about preventing the mess from happening in the first place? That's where C for consistency comes in. It's the rule keeper.
Consistency is pretty straightforward, really. It just means that a transaction can only take the database from one valid, logical state to another valid, logical state. It has to follow all the rules that are set up. Think of it as the system's own internal logic check. It's constantly asking itself, does this make sense?
And it does this using what are called constraints. For example, you can set a rule that your inventory stock can never be a negative number. That just doesn't make sense, right? Or another rule, every single payment has to have a totally unique ID. Why? To prevent accidental double charges. Or how about this? You can't create an order for a customer who doesn't even exist in your system. If any transaction tries to break one of these rules, consistency just shuts it down. Nope, not allowed.
Okay, next up is I for isolation. And this one tackles one of the absolute trickiest problems in all of computing. What happens when thousands of people, all at once, are trying to read and write to the exact same piece of data at the exact same time? Chaos, right? Well, that's what isolation is here to prevent.
Let's go back to that concert ticket, the last item problem. Without isolation, it's total chaos. You see one ticket in stock. Someone else sees one ticket in stock at the same time. You both click buy, you both complete the purchase, and now the website has sold one ticket twice. That's a huge problem. But with isolation, the system is way smarter. When you start your checkout process, you basically put a temporary lock on that ticket. If someone else tries to buy it, they're told to wait a second. Once you're done, the stock is now 0, and that other person is correctly told, sorry, sold out. See? Order is maintained.
And believe me, this isn't just about selling t-shirts or concert tickets. When isolation fails in a financial system, the consequences can be, well, mind-boggling. You can get into situations where money is literally created out of thin air.
A perfect, real-world example of this is the infamous Starbucks gift card exploit. A security researcher found this tiny flaw, a race condition they called it, which is basically a bug that happens when the timing of events goes wrong. And they figured out how to use it to just duplicate money. So here's the play-by-play. The attacker would send 2 requests at the exact same millisecond to transfer the same $5 from one gift card to another.
Now, because the system had weak isolation, it read the initial $5 balance for both requests at the same time. And since both requests saw $5, they both said, "Yep, there's enough money," and approved the transfer. Both transactions went through.
And the result? That initial $5 balance magically turned into $10 on the new card. Just like that. Money was literally created out of nothing. It's a perfect, if scary, example of why isolation is so incredibly important.
All right, so let's say a transaction succeeds. It passed the all-or-nothing atomicity check, it followed all the rules for consistency, and it didn't interfere with other transactions thanks to isolation. Great, but what happens if someone trips over the power cord and the whole server shuts down? How do we guarantee that data isn't just lost forever? Well, that is the job of D for durability.
Durability is a simple but really profound promise. Once the system tells you that a transaction is complete, that's it. That data is permanent. It's going to survive a power outage, a server crash, pretty much anything short of the building catching on fire and melting the hard drives.
So how do they pull this off? A really common technique is called write-ahead logging. It's clever. Instead of immediately changing the big main database files, which can be slow, the system first just writes down what happened in a super fast, simple log file, like jotting down a note. As soon as that little note is saved to the physical disk, the transaction is officially considered durable. Only then, in the background, does the system go and update the main database tables. If the server crashes, no big deal. When it boots back up, it just reads the log and replays all the transactions to get right back to where it was.
So you put it all together. Atomicity, consistency, isolation, and durability, and you get this ironclad guarantee of correctness. But of course, there's a catch. There's always a catch, right? All of those checks and locks and logs that give us this wonderful safety, well, they come at a cost, speed. And in today's world of massive global apps, that can be a real problem.
And this tension has actually led to a whole competing philosophy, which is called base. It's kind of the opposite of ACID. While ACID prioritizes strict perfect consistency above all else, base prioritizes high availability, meaning the system is always online. For your bank account, you absolutely need the strict correctness of ACID. But think about something like a like count on a social media post. Do you really care if it's off by 1 or 2 for a few seconds? Probably not. It's better for the service to always be available. This idea is called eventual consistency. It'll be correct, eventually.
At the end of the day, ACID isn't free. It has a real performance cost, but it's a deliberate choice. It's a company deciding to pay the price of correctness because the data they're protecting, your money, your flight reservation, your inventory, is just too critical to ever get wrong, even for a millisecond.
And that really leaves us with a fascinating question, doesn't it? In a world that demands everything to be faster and always online 24/7, we're constantly navigating this trade-off. How much of that perfect, instant correctness are we actually willing to sacrifice for a system that never, ever goes down? It's a balancing act every single tech company has to figure out.